Hey, Scott Russell. I wanted to share a few thoughts on finances, different finances and faith, maybe a better way to term it. I think the start of my journey, this part of my journey, began in September of '99, where I went over to the US and started to live with no visible means of income. And they were in the middle of a boom and went through a bit of a bust as well, '08, I think it was. And none of that really affected how I lived. And I wanted to just share a few principles that maybe will help you on your journey. And the first thing is where is your heart and what is your God? I mean, for me, I remember repeatedly hearing, when I say God speaking to me, but just my heart, that voice that I know to be the voice of God in my life speaking to me. And so I think God speaks in really movements of the heart, doesn't he? And then we put our words on it. And I just felt like him saying, Scott, why do you want what I've told you is going away? In reference to finances, in reference to financial prosperity. Because in the middle of a boom, there's some cool stories there. And I was given $1.5 million in free work and for what towards this day of what was coming, and I never ended up following through with a lot of that. And I kind of looked at it in my personal life and thought, well, God, what's the story here? And why would I give you what I've told you is going away? Because I'd seen vision of currency, US banknotes just laying on the streets in Boston, and nobody was picking them up. And back then there was no talk like we have now of the US currency, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me. But in all this collapsed currency, I started to see a city and cities, San Francisco, New York and Boston, excuse me, in a state of what can only be described as a move of God. It was really people that had become dissatisfied with the God they'd served for so long that had failed them, God of finances, the God of this world that just tries to tell you what you need to do and how you need to do it. And they were reaching out for God, and not in a religious way. It was a completely organic thing on the streets. And I believe we will see that. And I think once I saw the collapse of the currency on the ground, it was a 3-year window where people were in this state of openness to the divine. And after that, major persecution arose, which I believe now will be the form of a digital currency, and a lot of the extreme uses there. So anyway, you can spend, and you need to ask maybe this question. You don't need to do anything, but maybe a good question to ask if you feel this way is to say, do I want to focus on what is passing away or what lasts? And you can focus on the temporal, on what you know is going, and like you're fighting the tide. You can be one shell sitting on the beach, but you are fighting the tide because this world is turning and the financial system is collapsing and a new one is being brought up. And you cannot stop that. You maybe can slow it in your own little world and have some buffers there, but ultimately it's coming for everything that we are. So you can focus on what is going away, like God said to me. Why would I give you what I've told you is going away? I had repeated dreams night after night, and others have too, of a dam breaking and just sweeping everything in its path away, and God just jumping out of the way in time, and God protecting and taking care of. And you're heeding a warning. I'm sending a warning. Will you heed the warning that this dam is about to burst? And when it bursts, everything that you are, everything that you've known, it's just a picture, a dam breaking. And when that dam breaks, everything in its path is taken away. And you can stand there and say, this isn't right, this is unjust, this is not fair. Boom, you're gone. So we can face that, and many of us, I think, are coming to terms with the fact that the world we're in is rapidly going. And I think it's going to be a sudden bursting like that dam. You're going to go to bed one day, maybe wake up the next, and boom, everything's changed. And it's not like there weren't warnings, right? So you can't get upset about it. Of course, we're going to be upset. The other option is to build that which lasts. And I think as I walk in the spiritual definition of my life and what God has for my life. And I know the part that I will play in the guarding of souls, in the helping of souls, in the bringing of people to what matters in life, and where I'll be in Boston, the building there that, read the book, Vegetable Garden, Faith and a Corvette. And if God has me there, he has many others that are in the positioned and placed where they need to be. But put your focus on what matters. Put your focus on the eternal. Put your focus on the call that's in your life. If you feel freedom, that God's speaking to you. It's not in your head. It makes no sense. And when you try to take freedom from your heart and jam it into your head, it doesn't work out, does it? Because nothing around you is free. The whole system, everything around you in this world is so limited. But you feel free on the inside. You feel a call to freedom, and that's the call to the Almighty, to divine. And I believe that's God, and that's the difference to me with organized religion and true faith. Because I stepped out of organized religion because it's another system, and into true faith, which is that movement of the heart. For me, it was receiving of Jesus into my life, surrendering of my way of doing things, my desires, my fears, my control. And as I walk that, it starts to bring around what does it do? And this is how you build the eternal. Let it build what I call church. It's a Greek word called koinonia in the Bible, and koinonia, and it's really fellowship, caring, intimacy, intercourse, giving, all those intimate type caring things. There's a spiritual community of that we actually see in the Bible in the beginning of Acts, and religions tried to fabricate that and copy it, and they can't. A commune is a lousy attempt at it, but it's another system. But when it's in the heart, it's a beautiful thing. Let your heart shine, friend. Let your heart shine. Let your heart be filled with the love that God's put in it. Yeah, there's going to be fear, and your head's going to be afraid, but go with your heart. Follow your peace. Talk to your God. Talk to God. Just like we're talking. I can't hear you, but you can hear me. But talk to God. And build around your life those things that come through that flow. And that's going to be people of like mind, people that are right and righteous. It might be provision. It will be provision. You'll see provision come from amazing ways. I have some incredible things I've seen and currently walking out in those areas. Some of the people that actually inspired me to do it they're on their journey, and I like to hope that they'll come back around in some way. But they've got to find their spirit. They've got to find who they are, and they have to walk it. They have to be obedient to who they are, because if they're not going to make it through here, and they're not going to be able to help others. And it's time that we stop being man pleasers. It's time that we stop just doing things that we think that have been programmed into us to do, and to start to walk what's honorable and pure and righteous and true for our life. And you know what that is, and that might mean some hard decisions. That might mean some steps that are going to be of faith, saying, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm unsure of this, but I'm going to take the step anyway. Take the step. Take the step, because the people that love you are here. The people that love you are here. They're waiting. They're with you to unite around you, to walk through what is coming, to be able to build in truth and in righteousness and in peace. So anyway, a bit of an odd word maybe, but spend your time building in your faith. Spend your time building in the spirit of who God's made you, in freedom. And some of the things that are around our lives are not freedom. The mortgages and the things that are there, that some of us would do well to just wipe our hands off them and walk away. Start again, and you will know freedom like you've never known before. It's a beautiful thing, and walk in it. So maybe God's actually, instead of trying to keep you where you are, he's trying to release you to be able to walk in fullness of life. Let go of the things that, if you're really honest, they're a bit of a burden to you anyway, and walk into what God has for your life. Then you'll be free no matter what anybody throws at you. God bless.